Welcome into an at-home edition of Falcons Today. We have a lot to talk about because I would say a bombshell. Would you guys put it at a bombshell level? Report came out from Bleacher Report's Jordan Schultz and the Athletic's Dianna Russini involving Kirk Cousins, the Falcons, and the Vikings. So we're going to recap everything that came out today, and then we're going to talk about what's going to happen at the quarterback spot for the Falcons in the next few days. But let's start things off by going over what Jordan Schultz tweeted out. I'll put it on screen, but also read it to you guys. Jordan Schultz tweeted out, sources to Bleacher Report. The Falcons are considered a major contender to lure quarterback Kirk Cousins out of Minnesota once free agency officially opens on Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, per multiple sources. The Vikings are still trying to retain Cousins, who is the top quarterback on Atlanta's wish list. So we've been talking about this for a little bit now that it seems pretty clear the Falcons have a pecking order. It is Kirk Cousins number one, and then I think it's Justin Fields number two. So they are waiting to see if he will leave Minnesota, and I still, in my gut, think he's going to stay with the Vikings. Both sides want a reunion. Obviously, if they can't come to an agreement on a contract, I think the Falcons are a team that are willing to maybe spend a little bit more than what you'd think Kirk Cousins would go for, because they, well, I think it's just obvious, are desperate to get the quarterback right. And so if that means paying a little bit extra than what the Vikings will for Kirk Cousins' services, I think Arthur Blank has given his full blessing to write one of those $90+ million contracts and give out one of the biggest contracts, maybe the biggest contract like in free agency in Falcons history. So there is another twist to the story, I would say, which is Kirk Cousins has a contract that is going to void. You know when you add those void years on, the fake years to a contract to lower cap hits and spread it out? Well, he's got some void years on his contract. And in fact, the void year is going to hit on Wednesday, which means if the Vikings do not re-sign Kirk Cousins before Wednesday, they will take on a $28 million dead cap hit. That's a big number, and that's a big number that's big enough to motivate the Vikings to try and get something done so they can re-sign him and not have a $28 million dead cap hit, right? A dead cap hit is money that's allocated to your cap space for a player that's not on your roster. So there are a lot of reasons for the Vikings to try and get something done. However, I do feel like there is a growing sense in the building of Kirk Cousins is great, but we think it might be time to go a different direction. And if they feel like now's the time to go get a J.J. McCarthy in the draft, then maybe it's okay for them to let Kirk Cousins walk. Although they're picking at number 11 in the draft, there's no guarantee that J.J. McCarthy will fall to them at number 11. So they're in a bit of a sticky situation here, as I would put it. So let me get your input on this. Do you want the Falcons to sign Kirk Cousins? I think Kirk Cousins is a above average quarterback. He plays like a top 10 quarterback the last 4 seasons. And I know that might not sound like a true thing to say, but when you just go look at the numbers, Kirk Cousins is not the guy that we used to make fun of because he couldn't win on Monday Night Football. Like, he's kind of shed that narrative. He's won a playoff game. I think Kirk Cousins is a really, really, really good quarterback. I have my concerns about paying a quarterback that much money, which he's going to get, coming off an Achilles injury at his age. Like, those are hurdles for me that there's just one too many where I'd prefer to trade for Justin Fields, which I know the comment section is going to light up already because of that statement. I know I'm just repeating myself when it comes to my fanboy for Justin Fields. But if they do sign Kirk Cousins, make no mistake, I won't be upset about it. Like, I'm not going to be having a funeral on this channel for, oh, the Falcons are screwed. No, the Falcons got a great quarterback upgrade. Like, last year they went 7-10 with abysmal quarterback play, and I think a healthy Kirk Cousins can take a 7-10 team to a 10-7 team, and 10-7 likely wins you the NFC South, and then you're hosting a playoff game. So there's plenty of good reasons to be excited about Kirk Cousins maybe coming to Atlanta. Now, I do want to add also what Dianna Russini put out today. She said the Vikings are expecting to hear from Kirk Cousins tonight on his decision to explore free agency, sources tell me, and another athletic reporter. Of note, his contract is not void until Wednesday, so the team will have until then to extend him before his dead cap hit officially hits the books for 2024. So that's the dead cap hit I was talking about earlier. But Dianna Russini saying we're going to get a decision as soon as tonight. Now, I don't know if that decision will become public, if it's a hard set, I'm done, like there's no negotiating, this is my decision, or what. But keep an eye on tonight for a big bombshell news to potentially come out right before NFL free agency. Legal tampering starts Monday at noon Eastern, so theoretically, nothing could get done then. Well, theoretically, nothing could get finalized until then, I would say. Or really nothing getting finalized until Wednesday. But we know that things get done before the legal tampering, right? We've seen trades and stuff go down, or free agency, get like contracts signed as soon as free agency starts. It's like, oh, did you guys just start on this 20 minutes ago? Probably not. So we'll wait and see what decision Cousins makes. But like I was saying earlier in the video, I think he's staying in Minnesota. I just feel like, I know his wife is from Alpharetta. I think he even spent the first few off seasons of his NFL career living with his in-laws in Atlanta, which is kind of a strange move. Definitely, like, you make millions of dollars and you're living with your in-laws. What are we doing here, Kirk? But I think he's going to stay in Minnesota. I just feel like if he wants to be there, the Vikings want him there. The Vikings don't want to take on a $28 million dead cap hit. At some point, they're probably going to find some middle ground on an agreement. However, if Kirk Cousins is deciding, I want to leave the Vikings, which is a possibility, I could see Atlanta being, a tempting spot to go to. I don't know if you just like stack up roster to roster if the Falcons blow away the Vikings roster, right? He's got Justin Jefferson to work with in Minnesota, Jordan Addison. He's got good reason to believe like the Vikings could be a very competitive team in 2024 because they got off to a slow start, but they started to win some games down the stretch last year, and they picked up some injuries, of course. And I don't know if you can make a great argument that coming to Atlanta is a surefire thing when it means we're going to be a successful team in 2024. Like, there are still some things that have to be done with the Falcons roster at pass rusher and wide receiver outside of Drake London. So let's not act like the Falcons roster is one puzzle piece away. There are still some more moves to be made, which can easily be made in free agency in the draft. But as Kirk Cousins sits right now, he doesn't know for sure what those moves are going to be. One last thing I do want to add, by the way, if it comes when it comes to the Falcons potentially trading up in the draft, well, the Patriots just traded away Mac Jones to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which we sort of knew was going to happen, but I definitely think that increases the likelihood of New England going quarterback at number 3. I don't think it dramatically increases it, but I do think it's another tally for the Patriots going QB column. Yes, you're trading away a quarterback. There's a good chance you want to replenish that, and I think the 3rd overall pick is a great spot to do that. So maybe they decide to go with the Marvin Harrison pick over a Jaden Daniels and wait till get a QB in round 2. But if you're looking to trade up in the draft, I don't think the Patriots trading away Mac Jones helped you accomplish that. All right, that will do it for us on today's home video of Falcons Today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to sign off and see you guys bright and early tomorrow for NFL free agency.